let's wrap up the show the way we always do. For one last week, at least, we can look at the NFL power rankings coming out of the regular season, wrapping up the 2023 season. Moving forward, maybe we'll just do a confidence ranking of the teams that are left in the playoffs. But if you're watching, here's the full board. Here is the final 32-team power ranking for the 2023 season. I am, as I have been doing, I'm going to choose to focus on the teams that are still playing. And actually, coincidentally enough, the top 14 teams are the playoff teams. I think that's only fair. If you made the postseason, you are by virtue better than everybody that's still playing. You're better than everybody that's not playing anymore. But there's levels to this. So I'm going to go through the playoff field and assess how things stand before the wild card round starts. And we'll start at the very bottom, down 2 spots from last week. At number 14, it is the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they are the worst team in the playoff field right now. And maybe that sounds harsh because there's plenty of talent still there. They won 11 games. They were once 10-1. It all feels like ancient history right now. They're 1-5 over the last 6 weeks. They're the only team in the playoff field that hasn't at least been playing 500 football since the start of December. Even teams above them without settled quarterback situations. The Pittsburgh Steelers are playing better football in totality over the last 6 weeks than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's still time to fix it. You can go on the road and make yourselves feel a lot better against Tampa Bay. But based on what we've seen, I just don't see it. I have the least amount of faith in the Eagles than anybody else in the playoff field, not exaggerating. 1 spot above them, I jumped the Pittsburgh Steelers. Remember, the Steelers had a rough patch. They lost to the Cardinals and the Patriots back-to-back. It was looking really ugly, but they rebounded nicely. I jumped them 7 spots from last week up to 13th in the power rankings. No, the win against Baltimore was not, A, it wasn't pretty. The weather was disgusting, and B, Baltimore wasn't even playing all of its guys. But a 10-win season with the offensive issues that the Steelers have had is nothing to scoff at. And can you not at least imagine, yes, the Steelers should lose to Buffalo, but the weather's going to be gross. Steelers like to play this grimy street fight style of football. I can imagine a world where Josh Allen gets a little too chaotic. This game gets a little too close. I can imagine it. Not saying it's likely, but the Steelers are suited for this style of football. I'm very intrigued to see if they can keep the good times rolling now that they've made the playoffs. Up at number 9, they haven't moved. The Kansas City Chiefs won a game that you'll never remember anything else about. They beat the Chargers by a point. They didn't play their starters. It's not deserving of a move up or a fall down. They sit right where they are. They're right inside the top 10. Nothing about their play recently suggests that they're magically going to turn it on, but it is still the Chiefs, and it is still Patrick Mahomes. If there's anybody deserving the benefit of the doubt, it's these guys. They get to start it off at home at Arrowhead Stadium. Not doubting them, not disrespecting them. I think this is a perfectly fair ranking for what we've seen over the second half of the season. I cannot wait to see if Patrick Mahomes really can mythically lift this team above what it's been in recent weeks. Just above them, I dropped the Miami Dolphins 3 spots to number 8. And here's the fun part. They get to settle it on the field. The number 8 team and the number 9 team facing off in the wild card round. And what sounds like is going to be like a 0-degree game in Kansas City. Have fun with that, Dolphins. It's not even that the loss to the Bills was that ugly, but they had such a commanding lead in the AFC East. And to lose out the last couple games, drop the division, and now you go on the road against the reigning champs. It's just not where you want it to be. And the questions about how well you can play against contenders remain unanswered. But hell of a way to win over the doubters is by knocking off the defending champs. We'll see if they can do it. Up from them, up at number 7, the LA Rams. I want to take some time to give Sean McVay, Les Snead, Matthew Stafford. I get it's about what happens in the playoffs, but give the Rams some flowers. Very few people gave them a chance. They finished with double-digit wins. Good enough team that their backups could win a road game to get to 10 wins. I just don't know how many people saw that coming. There's so much exciting young talent on this team. There's Matthew Stafford. You still have Aaron Donald. You've got Hall of Fame caliber players that can help this young talent. So excited to see them play against the Detroit Lions. Never would have believed they would be in the top 10 of the power rankings at any point in the season, let alone at the end when it matters in the playoffs. So good on you, Rams. Up at number 5, up a spot from last week. I do move the Dallas Cowboys back into the top 5. A dominant win against Washington. They win the division. The road to the NFC Championship game, at least, is in Dallas. They get to play both playoff games at home, provided they take care of business. That's a big deal. I can't move them up too far because we know the teams that are above them, but it's all out in front of the Dallas Cowboys. So the 5 spot feels like a great spot for them as we see if they can keep the home magic going in the playoffs. And then up in front of them, you know the drill. I mean, Buffalo and San Francisco, they didn't play anybody this weekend. Why would you drop them out of their top spots? I moved the Bills into the 3 spot after they claimed the AFC East. Yes, even though they weren't secured a playoff spot until the final day of the season, I think the Bills are a team to beat in the AFC playoffs. We'll see if they can deliver on that potential and find some consistency. They're going to need to. Have I mentioned that I can't wait for the playoffs? Have I mentioned we're not going to have to worry about all these rankings anymore anytime soon? It's not going to be about that. It's going to be about what happens in these games. The field's going to get reduced in less than a week. I'll say it one more time. I can't wait. So that's how it stands right now. It's going to change very quickly. We're going to get into everything else on the way in a loaded wild card weekend. So many storylines to discuss, so many matchups to break down. And like I said, I have a feeling there's going to be plenty more news on the coaching front, as well as whatever else might come our way. We will be here to take you through all of it all week, all month, leading up to the Super Bowl. Stick with us. It's going to be so much fun. I will catch y'all next time.